Silent Hollow. The name was once a whisper, a secret shared amongst the hills. Now it was a chilling truth. The village, nestled between emerald slopes, stood eerily quiet. Gone were the joyous shouts of children, the melodic calls of vendors. An unnatural hush hung in the air, thick and heavy. The once vibrant heart of the village lay deserted. The marketplace, usually bustling with life, stood empty. Stalls lay abandoned, wares gathering dust. Even the playful wind seemed to avoid this place, as if afraid to disturb the unsettling peace. The silence was unnerving. It hinted at a tragedy too profound for words, a sorrow that had choked the very voice of the village. It whispered tales of suffering and loss, leaving a cold dread to seep into the hearts of those who dared to listen. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. But even the vibrant colors couldn't penetrate the oppressive gloom that had settled upon Silent Hollow. The silence deepened, becoming a living presence, suffocating and absolute. It began subtly. A persistent cough here, an unexplained weight loss there. Then the wasting sickness took hold. It ravaged bodies, stripping them of flesh and vitality. The afflicted grew gaunt, their skin stretched taut over protruding bones. The most terrifying aspect of the sickness was its silence. It stole voices, leaving the afflicted to suffer in mute agony. Their minds remained sharp, trapped within failing bodies. Their eyes, wide with terror and pleading, became windows to their torment. Then the disappearances began. One by one the afflicted vanished from their homes. It usually happened at night. They would be there one moment, their silent pleas etched on their faces, and gone the next. Whispers of strange lights in the woods and unearthly sounds after midnight began to circulate. Fear, like the sickness, became contagious. The villagers, once a tightly knit community, grew suspicious, their fear morphing into paranoia. The palpable fear in Silent Hollow was as tangible as the chill in the air. Doors remained bolted shut, windows shuttered tight. The villagers, once warm and welcoming, now eyed each other with suspicion. Trust had become a luxury they could no longer afford. Gone were the communal gatherings, the shared meals, the laughter that once echoed through the narrow lanes. Instead, there was only silence, broken by the occasional muffled sob, the rustle of a curtain as a curious villager peeked into the street. Isolation became their only solace, their only perceived defense against the invisible enemy that stalked their midst. Little did they know their fear was the true enemy, driving them further into the clutches of the unknown. As the sun began its final descent, casting long shadows across the village, a new wave of terror washed over Silent Hollow. For it was at twilight that the afflicted vanished, taken by the unseen force that haunted their waking nightmares. Elara clutched her brother's worn woolen scarf, its familiar scent a painful reminder of his absence. He had been taken by the wasting sickness a week ago, his once vibrant eyes dulled with pain, his voice reduced to a raspy whisper. Now he was gone, vanished like all the others. The silence of her home was deafening, amplifying the hollowness in her heart. She refused to believe he was lost to her. She had to know what happened, had to find him. Ignoring the pleas of the remaining villagers, Elara ventured out into the deserted lanes. The setting sun cast an eerie glow on the empty houses, their shadows stretching like grasping claws. Her heart pounded in her chest, a frantic rhythm against the backdrop of the oppressive silence. Fear pricked at her, but it was overshadowed by a fierce determination to uncover the truth, no matter how terrifying it might be. The whispering woods bordered Silent Hollow, a dark and ancient presence. Legends spoke of spirits and strange creatures that roamed beneath its dense canopy. It was a place the villagers generally avoided even before the sickness descended upon them. But Elara felt strangely drawn to the woods. She had discovered a single muddy footprint outside her brother's window, a footprint too large to belong to anyone in Silent Hollow. It led towards the forest's edge, As she stepped beneath the dense canopy, the air grew heavy, the scent of pine needles and damp earth overwhelming. The last rays of sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick foliage, casting the woods in perpetual twilight. A strange silence blanketed the woods, broken only by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant caw of a crow. Yet Elara could sense she wasn't alone. A low hum, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the heart of the woods, beckoning her forward. Deeper and deeper Elara ventured into the woods, following the barely discernible trail and the strange humming sound. The trees thinned, revealing a circular clearing bathed in an unnatural phosphorescent light. And then she saw it. In the center of the clearing pulsed a grotesque, fleshy mound. It heaved and rippled, a macabre tapestry of limbs, faces and torsos, all fused together. Elara recognized a pair of terrified eyes, the familiar birthmark on a withered arm. The afflicted, those taken from the village, were all there. Their bodies, emaciated and twisted, were woven into this horrifying tapestry of suffering. The humming sound grew louder, a chorus of silent screams trapped within the pulsating mass. Nausea welled up in Elara's throat. She stumbled back, a scream frozen in her throat, but it was too late. From the pulsating mound, tendrils shot out, thin and wiry like living ropes. They wrapped around her ankles, her wrists, pulling her inexorably towards the horrifying monstrosity. Elara struggled, kicking and screaming, but her efforts were futile. She was no match for the unnatural strength of the creature. As she drew closer, the humming intensified, morphing into a cacophony of whispers, pleas, and agonized cries. They swirled around her, penetrating her mind, her very being. She closed her eyes, tears streaming down her face, as she was dragged towards the pulsating heart of the horror. The last thing she saw before darkness consumed her was a single bloodshot eye staring out from the fleshy mass, an echo of her brother's fear reflected in its depths. The silence in Silent Hollow deepened, if that were even possible. The village stood frozen in time, a chilling testament to an unseen horror. The houses remained empty, doors creaking open like mournful sighs. The wind whistled through the empty lanes, carrying with it the faint echo of whispers and screams. The whispering wood stood guard at the edge of the village, its dark silhouette a constant reminder of the fate that had befallen its inhabitants. Silent Hollow had become a place of nightmares, a whispered legend amongst the surrounding villages. Travelers were warned to avoid the path leading through the Emerald Hills, to steer clear of the village where silence reigned supreme. For those who dared to venture near, the silence was deafening, a heavy blanket that suffocated all hope and joy. It was the silence of unspeakable suffering, of lives tragically cut short, of a community devoured by an unseen terror. Despite the warnings, there were always those who scoffed at legends, who dismissed the stories as mere superstition. Drawn by morbid curiosity or a misplaced sense of adventure, they would venture too close, their fate sealed the moment they stepped within the village limits. Some were never seen again, their disappearances adding fuel to the fire of the legend. Others, driven mad by the oppressive silence and the unseen horrors that lurked in the shadows, were found babbling incoherently at the edge of the woods. Silent Hollow offered no solace, no answers, only an echo of the horror that had transpired within its boundaries. It stood as a warning, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lie hidden beneath the surface of the ordinary, waiting to claim the unwary.